watch the video about Norma in Ecuador. Not the same farm that we just learned about. This is a different place. Yes, ma'am.
Where's Ecuador?
It's a good question. Where is Ecuador?
Ooh.
Cool. Kalada, you know where Ecuador is?
South America? Yeah.
It is. Let me show you the long journey that we have to make. We are here. Ecuador is South America. You guys ever heard of the Equator?
Yeah.
You know where it runs through?
Yes.
Ecuador. So that's where both of our stories take place. So it's pretty cool to know this is a real place. These are real life people that we're learning about. Any other wonders that you want to get in? We cannot move on without it. Disha.
I wonder how the farm and plantation owners look at the workers. How do they think about the workers that work for them?
So do they put their workers on an equal playing field, right? Do they give them a voice? Any other final thoughts before we move on to the video? All right. Now that we saw that, what did you learn? And Norma, the lady that we saw in the video, she is the plantation owner. Think about that for a second. Think about the assumptions we may have made. What do you guys think, or what did you learn after watching that? Not a whole lot of talking in the video either, right? Just like we've seen. Some laughing. Very contagious. Talk to somebody next to you.
So they basically sort of, what happened was... I thought she wouldn't be doing the hard labor. If you saw, she had like that machete or something. She was actually chopping down the bananas and stuff, and she was like doing things, and actually like doing labor. labor versus what I assumed was like the plantation owners would just be sitting back watching the other workers.
Over there and watch.
Yeah, like she treats all the workers equally and that like everyone's the same.
Good conversations being had. What did your partners say?
Zoe said that the business was kind of like a family business because some of her family members looked like they were working, and that her family seemed really creative.
Very cool. What else? Bruno.
Adam said that like she doesn't really sit back and watch everything. She just like goes and visits and the people working at the bananas and kind of does her part too in working.
Yeah. Deja?
Well, this is something that me and Lola both kind of noticed together. But towards the end, when like she had a fruit, I think it was a lemon, but it looked like a citrus fruit. When she cut it, it looked like she was offering it to somebody else.
I saw that there was a lady that was counting the money, and so I thought that they were doing that so they could like divide the money between everybody.
Claire said that she seemed like she really liked her job and that she was always really happy.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I took away from it too. I like that we can find things that we can relate to.
Like Carmen always helping other people.
Like Carmen helping other people. I love that you're making a, what would that be?
Video text to text.
Text to text, video to text, world to text, text to world, whatever you want to call it. You're making a connection to something we're already doing. I love that. I want to hear your thoughts. Let's head back to our desk. So I want to get going with the reading of this. We're going to do a few more math things, which is pretty awesome. We're going to read about Norma so we can know a little bit more beyond what we saw in the video. We already have some assumptions, some wonders that we have about her. So let's read and find out a little bit more about who Norma is and what she does. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Would you like to take a tour of my farm here in Ecuador? First, we must get into this hanging cart that is attached to a strong wire line that goes from my home to the banana plantation, so we can cross above the river flowing between them. Take a seat, and I will pull us across. On the farm that I own, there are 4 hectares and about 1,400 banana plants per hectare. I think I know what you're gonna ask, Liam. What is a hectare? Yeah. So I had to look it up myself. See, knowledge, even when you're an adult, it doesn't stop. You keep searching. So I found out that it is a unit of service or land measure equal to 100 aries. Another new vocabulary word for measurement. Now, you might be thinking, Mr. Cortes, that's still not helpful to me. It's about, or it is, 10,000 square meters.
What? 1 hectare?
Yes.
40,000 total square meters.
So a hectare is approximately
Oh my god.
how would I read that number? Galati.
2,471,000.
Yes! Well done, Galati. There are 4 hectares of property and about 1,400 banana plants per hectare.
46,000 banana plants.
How many?
56,000.
56?
56,000.
56.
There's like.
No, sorry, 5,600.
Yeah.
5,600 banana plants.
In total.
I'm not saying a banana. This is banana plants.
So times about 10?
I don't know how many banana plants. Maybe let's maybe find out.
Like 15.
My son and husband work in the plantation every day, and there are 2 full-time employees who are in charge of planting, fertilizing, weeding, and irrigating the banana plantation. Do you guys know what irrigating means? What does irrigating mean? Raise your hand if you can tell me. What does irrigating mean? Zoe?
Watering.
Watering. Making sure that they're properly watered. However, many more people are employed when it is time to harvest and pack the bananas. The harvest takes place every Tuesday, and on those days we employ an additional 11 people to help. So it's her husband, her son, 2 full-time employees, and then when it comes time to harvest, 11 more people. 16 total people.
That's working on for 2.5 acres.
Seems like they could use more.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was wondering.
Here it says, on the farm there are a lot of schedules that we maintain, such as always harvesting on Tuesdays. Can you tell me about some of the schedules in your life? In what ways are they helpful or unhelpful to organize your time? So turn and talk to the person next to you. What are some of your schedules, and how are they helpful or unhelpful?
My bedroom.
I have like my bedtime, when I get up, when I have to eat at least something like for lunch, and like all my activities have a time that I have to go to, like after school.
If my son works for 8.5 hours one day and spends 4/5 of that time harvesting, and the rest of the time helping me with accounting, how much time has he spent helping with the harvest? I want you and your partner, and you can do it directly on the paper if you would like. So you and the person next to you, figure out a way to answer that question for Norma. You can talk through it. In fact, I want you to talk through it with the person next to you. Off you go.
Since it's 8.5 hours, it would
68 over 37.
So that's how many hours he spent doing what?
68, yeah, 68. That's 68. Just want to be sure. Yeah, if you do that, that would get you 56. Once you get 56, because there's 4 as the numerator, you would have to multiply 56 times 4. Which is 30 months.
Is the question they're asking, what is 4/5 of 8.5? Is that the question? Yeah. Listen to this. If my son works for 8.5 hours one day and spends 4/5 of that time harvesting, how much time has he spent harvesting? So she's saying, what is 4/5 of 8.5?
So 4/5 times 8.5.
So what they're basically saying, because we know that word of when we're dealing with fractions means what, everybody? Multiply. 4/5 times 8.5. How many of you did this way, this technique? All right, Nathaniel, walk me through it. What do I do? In fact, why don't you come up, actually?
and solve it.
Solve it, yeah, but talk to us through it. What do you need to do?
You can't really multiply right now by 8.5 because you have to convert it into a mixed number.
Okay.
So, you would write 17 halves because 8 times 2 is 16 plus 1 is 17.
So you went from a mixed number to a
Improper fraction.
louder.
Improper fraction.
Improper fraction. Everybody got that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then now you can multiply. And if you want it to be easier, you can cancel it out.
Okay.
You can divide by 2 here. Here to get 1 and divide by 2 here to get 2.
Okay.
And 17 times 2 is 34. It's 34 over 5 because 5 times 1 is 5.
Sounds good.
And then you have to simplify to get 6 and 4/5.
Everybody catch that? Yes. Let's give Nathaniel a round of applause. Thank you. Nathaniel, who got 6 and 4/5? So what does that number represent? The number of?
6 hours. 6 hours.
The number of hours that he spent on the harvest, right? Part of it. 6 hours, 6 and 4/5 of an hour. Did somebody use a different technique and got the same answer?
Yeah.
Rusham, you want to come up and show us?
So what we did was we turned 8.5 hours into minutes. So there's
They
6.
hang on, slow it down. You're excited. They turned 8.5 hours into minutes. Everybody catch that? Okay.
There's 60 minutes in an hour.
Okay.
So in 8 hours, there would be 480 minutes. And then
480
with
minutes. Okay.
with that, and then the half hour. So if 1 hour equals 60 minutes and half hour equals 30 minutes, so plus 30 equals 510. So there's 510 minutes.
So does everyone understand where he is at right now? So you're wondering why he is finding the minutes? That wasn't the question. Here he's saying, why are you going with minutes? The question doesn't say how many minutes, the question says how much time. Well, what they did, Kirti, is they took the whole 8 hours and they figured, you know what, it's easier for us to work in terms of minutes, so let's convert it to minutes.
And then we'll convert back in the question, and we have to convert it back when it's asking.
Exactly, and then they'll change it back to hours when they answer the question. However, if they said they worked this many minutes, would that be right?
Yes.
Yeah, because the question is not worded to say how many hours and minutes. The question says how much time. Time can be hours, minutes, seconds. Make sense? Okay. So, are you with us? Okay, Claudia?
If we didn't simplify, it would have been 6 8/10.
If
Because
you
that's what
didn't-
Henry got.
Yeah.
He says he got it wrong because he didn't.
No. So that's a great question. Did you guys hear that question?
Yeah.
So Claudia's saying, wait a minute, I think Henry's right. Because Henry said 6 8/10. But Nathaniel said 6 4/5.
Because he's simple.
If you have 4/5 and 8/10, what kind of fractions are they? Call it out.
Equivalent.
Call it out like you had breakfast this morning.
Equivalent.
Call it out like you had breakfast and slept well last night.
Equivalent.
Equivalent fractions, right? So your answer is correct. It doesn't change the value of the fraction. It just exactly. Yeah. All right, Rushan, what you got for us?
Okay, so 510 minutes, and they're asking 4/5 of 510. So when you find out 4/5, a method that I use for trying to find 4/5 is I just divide it by 5. So 510 divided by 5 in standard algorithm, 5 goes into 5 once, and then there's 0, and so then 5 cannot go into 1. So then we would put a 0. So then we have 10. So can 5 go into 10? Yes, 5 can go into 10 2 times. So that puts it at 102. And so 102 is 1/5 at the time, but they're asking for 4/5 at the time. So you would multiply this by 4, and then this would be 408. And so 408 out of 510 minutes, except when you convert this back, you can convert it just using 408 and dividing that by 60. And so then you would find out how many hours and minutes. And so if you times it by 6, is 360, because if you times it by 7, 60 times 7 equals 420, which is over 408.
Okay, hold on. Are you guys with us?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. No? So what he's saying here, you want to be a teacher when you grow up? You should. Okay, anyway. So what he's saying here is he found the number of minutes that Norma's son is going to work, right? He found the number of minutes, and that number is 102. Right? Yeah. We're saying 102.
It's 1/5.
That's 1/5 of the time. But he's working 4 of those fifths. So he's taking that 102 and multiplying it by 4, which gave him 408. That's how much time Norma's son spent working on the field. Everybody clear on that? Yes. Claudia, you good on that?
Yes.
Then what Rushan is saying is, okay, now to get the hours and minutes, all he has to do is the 408 minutes divided by however many minutes are in an hour, which is how many, everyone? 60. Yeah, go ahead and move it. All right, so that's where we're at right now. 408 divided by 60. Do it over here so it's nicer to see. Say that again?
Don't write it that way.
I think it's just
There we go. It's okay.
408 divided by 60, so we did that step 6. So 60 times 6 is 360. And when you subtract this, you get 48. So now 48 minutes will not go into 48. It will not go into 60. So that is our remainder. Except here it would be our minutes. So our final answer was 6 hours and 48 minutes. Like Nathaniel got right here. Except he converted this, and this would be minutes. And when you divide this.
Well, hang on. First of all, let's give him a round of applause. Math, empathy, kindness,
They all come together.
reading, are they standalone subjects?
No.
No. We bring them all together. We do them all together. I don't know about you guys, but that's more fun to me.
Yes. Yeah.
This is realistic. Norma has a farm, a real plantation. And she has a son who works X number of hours. How many hours is that? Does Norma need to do some math in order to pay her son?
Yeah.
I don't think Norma's going, you worked 6, let's just call it 10 hours. Just because I don't want to do math. Here you go. Here's the money for 10 hours. Say that again. Say that louder.
I saw her doing math with her glasses and everything on the sheet with her calculator.
So when we were thinking about the life of a farm or plantation owner, maybe we thought, they might sit up here and just say, go!
Do this, do this.
Do this! Do that! Remember when Miss Bauer was here talking about,
Boss and leader.
say that again.
Boss and leader.
A boss and a leader. Is Norma a boss or is Norma a leader?
Leader.
What do you want to be?
Leader.
Leader, right? There's a difference between a boss and a leader. I don't just stand up here and tell you this is the thing. No, we come together. We mush. I like that word. We mush together. Let's finish reading about Norma. Before harvesting, one of our employees goes to the plantation to see how many banana clusters there are and marks those ready to be harvested. Each one has to be in a specific stage of growth, and it is important to keep track so the harvest goes smoothly. On the day of harvesting, one person is responsible for cutting all the bananas that have been marked, while another person loads them carefully to avoid any damage. Carefully, to avoid damage. You don't want to damage the bananas. Bananas are then brought into the transporting line where they are then processed. Before being cut, the clusters are disinfected and immersed in water to shed any impurities such as dirt. After being dried and inspected again to avoid imperfections, they are packed and transported to the port. From there, the bananas are sent to several countries around the world.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
I just calculated if there are 15 bananas in each banana plant, then she makes 4,368,000 each year. Bananas.
Whoa. You just calculated that just now?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that?
What?
One more time.
I just calculated if there are 15 bananas in each banana plant, then she makes 3,608,000 each year.
Each year. That's assuming none of them get damaged.
Yeah.
Assuming there's 15 bananas per plant.
Just an average date.
Could be more, could be less. That's amazing. That's amazing.
And every Tuesday they get
And every Tuesday.
Tuesdays,
Ever?
her bananas maybe from Ecuador might have been shipped here and we don't know.
You ever look at the sticker, they might say where they're from and things like that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't that awesome when you're teaching and props magically show up? So these bananas are from Peru. So probably not from Norma's because she is in Ecuador. But here's something cool that I like. What does that say? Loud.
Fair trade certified.
One more time.
Fair trade certified. Fair trade.
Fair trade. We bring it all around. Kindness, empathy. Hey! You guys see what I did? Yeah, so next time you eat a banana, next time you buy roses, see where they're from. See if they come from Ecuador. See if they come from Peru. See where they're coming from. Because maybe they came from Norma's farm. Or Norma's plantation.
I refuse to use any bananas if they're not from Norma's farm.
We will only have Norma's bananas.
Yes. That's like a revolution.
Let me ask you guys this: would you guys be interested?
In eating Norma's bananas? Yes.
No. Would you guys be interested in maybe reaching out to Norma?
Yes.
Writing a letter to her?
Yes.
What would you say?
Can we have some bananas?
What would you say in that letter? Honestly speaking, realistically speaking, what would you want to say to Norma? What would you want to say to Norma?
Thank you for giving us some bananas from Ecuador to the whole world.
Sure. What else? What would you want to say to Norma? What do you think?
I love how hardworking you are, and then you show kindness to your workers. And empathy.
I like how hardworking you are, and then you show kindness and empathy to your workers. One more.
Thank you for being a leader and not a boss.
Thank you for one more time.
Thank you for being a leader and not a boss.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Empathy, kindness, math, science, reading, social studies. All important.
That's what school is. One big ball. You don't go to
If
school.
we spend time just worried about the math and all the content, and we forget about the kindness and empathy, I think we're doing kids a disservice. Don't you guys agree? But if we teach kids, be kind, show empathy, and do math, I think we're on our way to solving the world's problems. Alright, let's see it.
Backpack kids.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Backpack kid, please.